Egg and sperm donation. The phrase third-party reproduction refers to the use of eggs, sperm, or embryos that have been donated by a third person, a donor, to enable an infertile individual or couple to become parents. Donors may be known as anonymous to the intended recipient. Third-party reproduction also includes traditional surrogacy and gestational carrier arrangements. Some characteristics and benefits of egg donation are: 1. Egg donors are young. The ideal donor is in her late teens to mid-20s. 2. Your children will most likely never meet their egg donor. If you're adopting a child, you have the option of an open adoption where the birth mother maintains some form of mutually agreed upon contact with the child throughout his or her life. With egg donation, that is either very rare or impossible. 3. Unlike sperm, eggs are only donated on demand. Sperm donors make their deposits and get paid not knowing if anyone will ever use their sperm. That's because sperm is plentiful, easy to produce, and cheap to store. Eggs are none of those things. If you become an egg donor, you go through testing, both medical and psychological, to make sure you're equipped to donate, and then you wait. Your name, photo, and vital information goes into a database, and someday, if someone picks you, you get a call that it's go time. You could sign up to donate eggs and never actually get picked by any prospective parents, which means you never get paid. Anonymous egg donation is definitely not for anyone who's afraid of rejection. 4. Egg donation is a big-time commitment. A sperm donor can start and finish his job and donate quickly, but egg donors don't have dozens of eggs on hand at any time that they can just drop off at a fertility clinic at whim. They need to prepare themselves physically. That means about 6 weeks of medication. 5. There are generally less anonymity for egg donors than sperm donors. Once eggs are donated, they're fertilized immediately. Extras are frozen for later attempts and transferred to a surrogate 3 to 5 days later. Most sperm donors never encounter their intended parents firsthand, but egg donors don't have that luxury. You'll probably be bumping into each other at the fertility clinic anyway, so many agencies will let you meet and interview prospective egg donors before making your decision. Even if you don't meet them in person, the database tends to give you their first name, an extensive bio, pictures, and a video of them talking, all of which you can later pass on to your kids if you choose. The standard rate for egg donors is $8,000. Egg donors can earn a lot more than sperm donors because of all the extra trouble they have to go through. Their standard rate is $8,000 per harvest. 7. The pool is limited. Anyone who thinks the process of egg donation is akin to genetic engineering or eugenics is vastly overestimating the amount of choice available. It's more like trying to find your future wife in a bar and having only the patrons of those particular people at the bar at that time. A biblical look at sperm donation. 1. A common method of sperm retrieval, masturbation, involves a violation of the 6th commandment. Matthew 5:28 says, "But I say to you, everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with his heart." 2. Many ethical and practical issues are the same here as with surrogate parenting. A review of surrogate parenting material would be appropriate. Sperm banks raise valid social and legal concerns, re. paternal rights, the rights of children to know their parents, transmission of diseases, and a checkered past of mismanagement resulting in mistaken insemination of sperm. I reject the argument that sperm banks presume for humans the authority of God. The role of God in this life-giving process extends far beyond the comparatively minuscule task of mixing sperm and egg together. The statistical information on the thousands of sperm that never penetrates the eggshell alone suggests that God has never deserted his life-giving functions, while some have allowed technology to suggest that God's miracles are explainable. Even the agnostic medical pioneers in these fields develop a growing sense of awe and respect over the complexity and miraculous nature of the procreative process. God's prerogative to author and terminate life is not subordinate to our activities. The Virgin Mary was an example in which God did not wait for sexual relations to begin life. People use a wide variety of fertility techniques and birth control devices, and nevertheless are still subject to the will of God as to when life begins and ends. Medical advances represent blessings for us to manage. When we exercise that management with the proper motives and understanding of God's will, there is no usurping of God's authority. When, however, we have the attitude that God made a mistake with us in making us infertile, or that life is trivial and subordinate to our own desires, we cross that line. It's not wrong to desire the blessing of children, as we also desire the blessing of a nice home, a good job, a friendly and Christ-centered church, good friends, and etc. 1 Samuel 1:20 says, "And in due time Hannah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Samuel. For she said, I have asked for him from the Lord." While we pursue these other blessings, we carefully watch our steps so that we don't violate the principles of God in the process. So also we should carefully watch our step when seeking the blessing of children. We should ask ourselves, are my motives God-pleasing? Will the techniques pursued compromise God's value in human life? In the end, will this effort be done to give full glory to the God that I serve? 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, "So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God." Non-biblical problems with sperm donation I will tell to you in this story. I was so shocked and disturbed to read about a sperm donor who recently learned he'd fathered at least 70 kids, including one shown in a photo with him in this fascinating article written by Linda Matchkin. Boston attorney Ben Ciesler, 33, had no idea he'd be meeting future offspring from his donated sperm when he made repeat deposits at a sperm bank, earning $150 every donation. While he was a law student, "They told me I'd be anonymous," Caesar said in an interview with the Globe. "That made sense to me. I really didn't think too much about people trying to find me." Nowadays, though, that's becoming the norm as kids created from donating sperm which wish to meet their biological fathers. "It's a matter of choice for donors to make, whether they wish to be contacted later on," said Sean Tipton, a spokesperson from the American Society for Reproductive Medicine. "But we have concerns about changing rules on people in the middle of the game. We're starting to see men tracked down who thought that they had donated anonymously." Ciesler decided to register in an online registry that enables children conceived by sperm donors to locate their biological fathers and half-siblings. This could conceivably also be used by those born by egg donors to locate their biological mothers, but it hasn't thus far been as big an issue. The openness surrounding finding a biological parent is transferred from adopted children over to those born by sperm donors, says Lisa Lehman, director of Center for Bioethics at Brigham and Women's Hospital. And there appears to be some psychological benefits to kids to know about this parent, although there is harm. As with adoptive children, those born to sperm donors might be in for some unsettling surprises if their father has a lifestyle that's at odds with their own, such as a history of alcoholism or drug abuse. In terms of health benefits, children can gain from knowing their biological parents' medical history or family history of diseases. Lehman envisions a time in the near future where the sperm banks keep DNA samples from donors on file so offspring can peer at their anonymous genetic profiles to get a sense of the health history. An immediate and far more pressing issue, limiting the number of children sired by a single donor. Our current standards say sperm banks should limit a single donor to no more than 25 births, says Tipton. That was based on the random chance of meeting someone in your local area of 800,000 residents who might unknowingly be your half-sibling. But Tipton said that the society is currently in the process of revising that number, though he didn't know whether it should be revised upward or downward. What's more, it's not a guideline that the sperm banks must stick with, given the experience of Ciesler. I think it's very important for sperm donors to be informed about the number of children that one sperm donor can father, says Lehman. They might want to go into this with that knowledge, given that they could be contacted one day by future offspring. The key lies in informed consent in this brave new worm of sperm and egg donors. People do this for altruistic purposes, to help someone have a child and for money, while assuming they'll have anonymity, says Lehman. Unlike Ciesler, many donors may not wish to be contacted, especially when they're raising children of their own. Without guarantee, it could undermine the whole system.